G'day and welcome to 5 Minutes with Fitzy. Peter Fitzsimons is here, the man in black today. Look at
yes,
us go.
Good. Johnny Cash, man in black.
Hey, we have a very juicy subject to get stuck into today. That being this event that Novak Djokovic, a tennis event put on overseas, Serbia and Croatia, and we've seen a list of players involved in it, including the man himself, contract COVID-19. And his wife. Borna Coric, another one of those players, Grigor Dimitrov as well. And the scenes you're seeing out, it's not just the tennis and the breaching of the social distancing rules, regulations, whatever you want to call them, but you're talking about nightclub appearances as well. And
dancing shirtless in the nightclub, sweaty, da-da-da-da-da, I'm too cool for school, the rules don't apply to me.
If it wasn't so serious, it'd be hilarious.
It's extraordinary. And Nick Kyrgios, a lot of people have said to me, first time ever I agree with Nick Kyrgios, but we'll start from the beginning. Novak Djokovic is one of the more entertaining players on the circuit, seems like a good guy, and then in recent times it came out that he's an anti-vaxxer, which is another way of saying I'm trying to think of that word, moron. I mean, anti-vaxxing, please. Do you agree with me on that?
Definitely I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
No, but being anti-vaxxer is another way of saying you're a moron. And so, you don't want to say that of Djokovic because he seems like such a good bloke. But then that he does this thing, so he says, basically forget the rules. This is not that serious. The game's over. We can all carry on. And then to bring them from all over Europe, then to dance shirtless, sweaty in a nightclub. In fact, I'm not going to do it with you. No, I don't mean shirtless, but I mean you don't actually, even now, you actually don't want to get too close.
Well, you're always aware.
But sweaty and, spraying and all the rest of it. Then he comes down with it, his wife comes down with it, several other players come down with it. And Nick Kyrgios, quite rightly...
Well, he said that it was a boneheaded decision in the first place to be doing what they were doing, and then
he's vindicated.
And then he has been, and he's sort of done the whole,
Mind you, it will be very interesting to see what Djokovic does for return serve on Kyrgios.
Well, it's hard. It's hard too. The big question here too is Novak Djokovic is the Players' Council president as well. Is his position untenable? If you
untenable. Totally untenable. You cannot be the one representing the players saying we players have got to do the right thing when you demonstrably have done absolutely the wrong thing. And, it's one thing to take a risk. To take a risk and triumph, but to take a risk and fall flat on your face and basically, and the absolute truth of it is to behave in a manner which has put lives at risk. That's there's no way around that. The way that he did that, the way that he behaved has put lives at risk. The end of the section. And Nick Kyrgios is quite right to have called him out on it and say this is not the behaviour tennis players should be known for. And Kyrgios's point, where he says, I haven't got the exact quote in front of me, you probably have, but basically saying I've taken a lot of flack for behaving badly over the years. I'll put my bad behaviour up against this bad behaviour any day of the week and tell me that mine even compares. And there's no way around that. And so the first act has got to be, Djokovic has put out a press release with very carefully tailored remarks of this and that, we didn't mean to do the wrong thing, blah, blah, blah. Have you seen that press release? If he wrote that, I'll fall over. He didn't write that. That'll be a PR person. We've got to try to tailor this remarks. And in the end, forget your press release, mate. You've done absolutely the wrong thing. Resign as the head of the players and hang your head in shame.
Does it put into jeopardy now upcoming events because the ATP and WTA have sort of put out a timeline of events they want? We've got French Open at Roland Garros, which is still scheduled. The US Open we got rubber stamped last week as well.
I think it does. I think that when you hold a tennis event and the net result of that tennis event is people coming down with coronavirus, including one of the greatest players of all time who organised it, you have to say, is it wise to go on with other tennis events? What it will do is when they do the US Open, the US Open, if that goes ahead, that will be, they'll have to have absolutely strict protocols and observe them, and dancing topless in nightclubs, let's not do that one. Anyway, Djokovic, let the side down.
Yeah, the Nick Kyrgios social media stuff is pretty funny.
It's funny with Kyrgios, isn't it? Because the Kyrgios, I've done more criticism than the most on Kyrgios. But seriously, within Kyrgios, you got this. I still have this sense of this. There's a great humanity in him, and there's courage, and there's so many good qualities of Kyrgios that if he could all put it together, he would turn into the superstar of our time.
I just want to rattle through a couple of them. One of the early ones was boneheaded decision to go ahead with the exhibition. Speedy recovery, fellas. This is after Borna Coric announced that he had it. But that's what happens when you disregard all protocols. This is not a joke. Then there was a post put up about the announcement that the event was cancelled because of those positive tests. And he says, congratulations, such leadership, emoji with the slap in the face. And then off the back of that, the breaking news that Novak Djokovic had contracted it, the world number one, and it just says, oh boy.
Oh boy. And
then
Kyrgios is saying what needs to be said in the tennis community. I mean, I haven't heard anything from Federer, have you? Anything from Nadal? Kyrgios is the one that is saying what needs to be said. You know, you're embarrassing the sport and you're embarrassing yourself. And when Kyrgios says that to you, you know things are grim.
Which comes back to the tweet you mentioned. Prayers up to all the players that have contracted COVID-19. Don't tag me for anything I've done that has been irresponsible or classified as stupidity. This takes the cake.
That's the one.
There you go.
This is 5 Minutes with Fitzy. We're closing it down at 5 minutes 07.